Good choice. How about that? Try to get that out there as much as I can. Hope everybody's doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Not too bad. Not too shabby. Shabby. Okay, so here's what we got, for lack of a better word. This might be a face for the night saver. I don't know. It just depends on how I feel. Honestly, it depends on how this live does. But this is going to be a bass carving. And we got to make some stuff to give away. That's the plan. And so we're going to give something away for our member live stream next Friday night. So we're going to make a series of stuff. And then what we're probably going to do is let our, whoever the winner is, let them choose, between some different items. But if I got enough stuff to kind of pass around, then we can kind of get that figured out. But that said, look who we got here. We got Woodchecker, Michael S., Amy Joe, also members of the channel. Let's see, Susie. Hey, how's it going, Dad? What do you know? Just trying to read all this here. And I just size getting old. It's just the way it is. Creation Dust 777, best chainsaw carver in the world. Be sure and hit that like, guys. The faster you hit the like, the faster they show it. So anyhow, here's what we got. Little bass and a piece of cottonwood. It's about an inch. And not going to get too carried away with a thick piece. And then I do have, if that goes fast enough, I do have this piece drawn out here to try to do kind of a face. But it's no hurry, no requirement, whatever to do it. So without further ado, I'll get on my RZ. And I don't know what I did with my other RZ screen. This one here is getting pretty yucky. It's around here somewhere. But I do like that, despite that, you guys are able to hear me too. I think that's pretty decent in of itself. So, okay, flamer burr. Start out with the flamer burr. Let me get this guy loosened up. Uh-oh. Lots of thumbs, heck yeah, or muscles or thumbs or something. Or say, hey John, what's going on? Colin Comer, what is going on, bud? Glad to see you in there. All right, so let that shank just out a little bit. There we go. About like that. For this stuff, it's super soft, and I'm not going to be pushing hard anyway. So let's zoom on in a little bit. I'll probably get in a little more. There we go. Okay. All right, let's see if we can dig this dude out. I made some of this bedding at Buckeye Lake on Ohio. Bedding's a bass, like a mascot for the lake. And so I made two of them. lady said, "Objection, Your Honor. He's badgering the witness." And, you know, he said, "What's his witness?" You know? Oh, that was pretty good stuff. I like this guy. I mean, insanely talented. Like Ronald Williams. He's like a modern Ronald Williams. Different ways, but kind of the same thing. There's a basic fish thing. I've got all around it, but I need to dig it down deeper. But that said, I kind of got it. I thought I'd pop up here and see what all's going on here. Be sure to hit that like button. Hey, Kevin Dorica, Billy Shoemate, what's going on? Michael S., Creation Dust, Woodchucker. Heck yeah, glad to see you guys in there. All right, I'll keep going right on that. We got to make some stuff so we can get something to work with. Now, Kevin Dorica said he'd rather see a fish made than a big one. Kind of rough, like these pieces of wood are kind of rough or whatever, you know, it just is what it is. But that said, here we go. Go with a pointier, go with this pointier coarse burr. Go from there. Hey, Roger, what's going on, buddy? Glad to see you. Hey, Millie Maple. Heck yeah. Oh, wrong one. I grabbed the Vevor, not the kutzall. I want this one. Dig this baby down, and then I can dig down my fence a little deeper. But that's it. If you haven't already, hit the like button. Sure appreciate it. We'll keep going. Okay. table saw and cut that piece there off. You can see that piece is kind of stuck up, you know. But that's it. I mean, it's going pretty good. Not bad, not good, not too bad at all. Hopefully we're zoomed in there enough. Y'all can tell what's going on. Looks pretty good. Flex shaft is 780 watt. You can get this thing on Amazon and different stuff. I actually got a link for it. And if anybody's interested in that, email me. I can post the link so you can get it. And I got a affiliate link to Amazon, so I can get something out of it. I don't know what. I'm not that worried about it, but at the same time, it's kind of cool to do. beside the bear. You know, he's nice. He's a hard worker, but he farts a lot. He never shuts up. You know, so she's got to weigh the pros and the cons. You know. Okay, I wanted to get that out on the tip a little bit, just to kind of clean. I know that's a little wonky here. Let's see if it'll spin right. Oh yeah. It had a little wobble to it. Not a lot, a little. Big dig. See, this one has got a point. This one ain't, it's a little wider, but it also, it can be used for the same thing. No, see, like, I couldn't fool anybody into, you know what I mean? When's he gonna draw? I'm all the time. That's just me. My hands are always doing something. Okay, anyhow. Hey, if you haven't hit the like button already, it don't cost nothing. I don't know why you wouldn't. Probably be a lot big, but I'm going to use this one. Is that the smallest one? Yeah, that's the smallest one. I'm going to use this manpa eye cutter tool and give this dude some eyeballs. And hey, we got 10 rubies. That's pretty awesome. Heck yeah, good deal. Appreciate that. Anyway, we're going to give this guy an eyeball right there, and then we'll use this to give him some scales too. And I think this will be a cool piece for the giveaway. Not too bad, not too good. I mean, it'll be up to you members. Which I see there's some members in there. You know, Whichever, Grace Dust, Michael S. is in there. I think Amy Joe was in there. I have to get back up and look, guys. Sorry. He never did. See what we got. All right, let's give it a knock. Alright, look at that. Nice and perfect. Woohoo! Alright. Yeah, let's see who all I got there. Yeah, Baby Kisses, awesome member of the channel as well. Yep. I gotta have stuff to give away, that's for sure. Hey, Matthew, what's going on? I already said hi to Billy. Hey, Perry, another awesome member of the channel. Heck yeah. Glad to see you, bud. Okay, I'll keep right on it going here. But the eye looks really good. I mean, that looks good. And hey, I posted a link today. Y'all can buy these through my link. That's pretty cool. Although I promised I'm not going to be trying to sell stuff. Beth told me about Cornwall. Cornwall had actually sent me an email. That's what got me thinking about, yeah, I'll probably get around to this. So I asked him what they were doing, and he said they were using Cornwall. And so I plan on doing it. We were just thinking about changing our logo. But in the end, I'll probably just need to put some stuff out there too. Y'all would buy, you know, that'd be pretty cool. Close-up look at them scales. That's pretty daggone cool. You know, especially considering how small a piece of wood that is. You can see it better on the camera than I can see it with the naked eye. That makes sense. Actually, I think the whole thing looks better on the camera than it does with the naked eye. So I'm looking at it, seeing if there's anything else I want to do to it. I might take this piece off with the cable saw, but other than that, I'm kind of maybe around these edges off. I don't know. No, not really. I think it looks fine just like it is. Maybe I should just leave that. Probably a little clean enough. So this will potentially be one of our pieces that is part of the members live next week. Have a giveaway. It's going to be one of the pieces you can choose from. And I don't know. I mean, you can see the size of my hand. It's actually a pretty good sized piece. But pretty cool looking bass there. All right, yeah, I got a little bit of. Okie dokie. I need some liquid inspiration. So I got this dude here, and I'm thinking about making a face out of him. How long have I been on here? Okay, I've only been on here 48 minutes, so I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do next. And take this here, set it off to the side. Oh, Bigfoot. I finally got him glued. I wonder if I'd have burned that. I think it looks good like it is. Here's the Bigfoot from last week, and I finally glued that stuff right before I started this live, actually. So he's all right. Not too bad. Not too good. So I'm looking at him. I don't think I'm going to burn him. I think I'll leave him alone because in the light, I mean, the detail's pretty decent. I don't know. I guess I'll think about it while I work on this guy. All right. So we're going to name him. Somebody come up with a name. Let's name him James Wilbur Winograd the third. Like that. Helmet. I call my brother. His name, our last name, Esquire. He just laughs about it. Anyway, all right. Let me put glasses on, mask on. Get back at this again. Kind of fun. And I might come back tomorrow night and make another 1 or 2 pieces that we can have for our next week or member giveaway. So, I don't know. Let's see how it goes. I don't leave much room for the mirror like that. If you look at it, see what I mean? We don't have much down here. The reason I did that is the cracks and stuff that runs through here. But I think I'd rather work with this end. So here, hang on, let that on. More than the top of his head, you know, I'd rather he have one here. So, let's see. Let's make his eyebrows. And I'm just going by like I've seen other people do, like Mac bars. They take, you know, there's halfway distance in between. So this is going to be the eye and the brow. You know, maybe draw a little bit of brow on there. And give him, he's an Italian, so we'll give him a full brow all the way across. And I don't know if that's a generalization or not. Lord, I apologize ahead for anybody with a unibrow that I might have offended. You know, sorry for that. And I'm probably not really, but I should be. How about that? We'll all just have to agree to agree. Agree to agree. Here, we're getting a little something there. A little something there. A little something there. Long handlebar mustache. He hasn't seen a razor since. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, that's it. That I do together. I gotta find that other deck. I can probably go without it anyway. This thing works so good. The system that I have for this now is working so good that the RZ for one is plenty. Y'all need to see that. How's that looking as far as where the position is? That's not too bad, okay. far, heck, you can't even see it. It gives you an idea so far, you know, and I want to actually bring that out even more, so I'm going to keep digging. But that's it, I'm having fun. For nose for me, that's probably getting pretty good, right? Not too bad, not too good, somewhere in the middle, something like that. But anyway, we'll keep right on going with him. Stop and take a look at him for a second. Eye socket to eye socket. This guy is actually a little bit of a little bit of Frankenstein. he's really kind of coming along pretty good. I can't complain about him. Not too bad, not too good, somewhere in the middle. I want to start with giving him some eyes and go from there. I don't know, just something about the eyes. Once you put them eyes in there, it just brings the rest of him. Oh, okay, so I want to use now this one. Give it some eyeballs. And I can draw eyelids and all that stuff after the fact if I so choose. But I look to the right. Get hot, dude. That's the one thing about them. They get really hot really fast. Like melts your plastic toolbox out. Just like that. hair looks pretty good. Take some of that softness out of it and give it. mean, for only being like, probably like my fifth or sixth one, I'm not complaining at all. I think he's looking pretty good. And then that, looking to the right, that's pretty cool too. He's pretty neat. All right, so they're giving this guy some facial hair. Now see who we got here. LJ, we got Gen 1. What's going on, guys? Glad to see y'all in there. Baby kisses? Heck yeah. Michael S. Let's see. Looks pretty good just like he is. I think if I clear coated it just like he is. I like my eyes looking to the right like that. That's pretty cool. I got that little ring in there. Let me see if I can get rid of that. I don't want that. Not too bad, not too good. I could work that nose out a little bit. I know I'm gonna live with it. How about that? That's what we got. So, if you are a member of the channel, and hey, whoever give us $5, thank you. That's awesome. We also got 20 of the rubies. Man, that's really cool. I appreciate that, guys. Look, if you are a member, these are 2 of the pieces that whoever the winning member is next week. Hey, Michael West sent me a super thumbs up. There's some more. Got 25 rubies now. Heck yeah. These are 2 of the pieces that you'll get to choose from if you are the winner, if you're a member next week. That's the plan. In fact, let's hit them. I'm not going to burn them. What I am going to do is I'm going to hit them with some clear coat. And what the heck? We'll let that thing suck in some fumes. Looks pretty good. Let's see how this looks by the time it's all said and done. But I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. The rubies and the $5, that's really cool. And like I said, if you are a member, these are 2 of the things that will, whoever the winning member is, next Friday, will get to choose at least between these 2 items or a box of bark. If you're a carver, you might prefer to have some bark instead of my carving, and that's up to you. And we'll clear coat them. This bark just absolutely sucks up the clear coat. So I don't know. I'm sure you could put too much on, but I'm not. I could probably spray a whole can on there and it wouldn't hurt anything. So these will be 2 of the pieces for sure. And then, like I said, I've got all kinds of, like this is 1 inch. Let me zoom out a little bit. That makes more sense. This is a 1 inch piece. I mean, you can make multiple things out of that. And then I've got, do I have any cone in here? I've got more coney pieces like that. That's 3 inch by 2.5 to 3 inch, something like that. I've got some of this. So that'll be another choice. And I have this that I started with the saw. And if nobody else is live in tomorrow night, then I might come back on and do this guy and this little bear. And he'd be potentially our, giveaway option. But so far, I know I'm going to have these 2 pieces. Maybe even Bigfoot. I don't know. You know, it's hard to say. Yeah, there he is. He's not too bad. Now, I'll give you an idea. He's been clear coated. I mean, I really dumped it on him. And look how dry he looks already compared to these. I mean, it's just the way it is. It just really sucks at the end. And it doesn't look wet anymore. And that's the gloss. Yeah, that's a high gloss clear. You know, I suppose I could put my my Pittsburgh clear gloss non-tinted that I use on chainsaw carvings. I could put that on there and maybe it would look better. I don't know. But that's going to be our offerings for next week. At least these 2. I don't know about him yet. It's possible. But I mean, that's pretty good. And maybe something else. If no one else is live streaming tomorrow night, then I might jump on here and make something else. But for the sake of y'all that might think about it but never get on until like really late, like 10 or so, like I know LJ, he doesn't get on until really late. I wouldn't be on here any later than 10 like I am tonight. So, hey, you guys, I'm going to tell you. Let me get this over here. Y'all have a good night. I appreciate that. Yeah, 25 rubies. Somebody give us 25 or give us $5. Probably Baby Kisses or Perry. They're really good about that stuff, but it's hard to say. That said, guys, keep that in mind. Member, whoever the member is, next Monday and or Friday, and plenty of time for somebody to become a member before then. Whoever the winning member is will get to pick from at least these 2 items I made tonight. All right, that's it. I appreciate you guys being in here, and we'll catch y'all tonight. No, we won't catch y'all tonight. We might catch y'all tomorrow night. Creation Dust 777, probably 3 o'clock tomorrow. Be sure and check him out. If you don't have him set up for notifications, be sure and check that. Go to his page. You should already be subscribed, but if you're not, make sure you get it set up the notifications so you get that notification when he's on there live. Be sure and support them. They are really, I think they've done 300,000 views in the last 3 videos combined. Let's help them keep rocking it out. Let's see, the last Wednesday was 126,000 views. If we're all there and we're all hitting the like button, the faster you drive the like button, the harder they push it out to people who will subscribe to them, the better they can do. So let's see if we can help them hit maybe 130, 140, 150,000 views tomorrow. Would absolutely be awesome. That's it, guys. That's all I got tonight. Maybe we'll catch you tomorrow night, but if not, you know, I'll be back Sunday morning. Come back when you can stay.